It is mock draft season. Free agency is winding down. The draft is only about 5 weeks away, and the mock drafts are hitting the internet, and people are excited. You have the Godfather here, Paul, Mel Kiper Jr. from ESPN, a name that we're familiar with at this point with all these mocks. Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC, transfer from Pitt, where he was one of the best wide receivers in the country with Kenny Pickett. We're at a 4.49 40 at the combine, 5'11", but just 173 pounds.
We've talked about him a lot before on previous spots, John. This guy, to me, is the most polished of the wide receivers coming out, the best route runner, the guy who I just think is the most pro-ready. And if I were to rank the receivers, he would have to be my number one guy.
And he can play inside and outside as well. Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network, has his new mock draft with new free agency needs in the books. He's the Giants taking a center, but maybe not the center you might think. Joe Tippmann, center out of Wisconsin, 6'6", 313 pounds, Paul, at the combine. He did not work out there. We'll have to wait until Wisconsin's pro day to see him do that.
He's got size, the frame, he's got the power, he's got the athleticism, certainly the production. Wisconsin is always a powerhouse in the running game coming out of that conference.
And they develop offensive linemen really well.
No question. But here's the thing. He's 6'6". Think about that for a second. How many 6'6" setters have you seen in the NFL over the years? That's because they got trouble getting their pad level down, leverage, balance issues. This is something that, NFL scouts are going to have to be very careful about as they project him to the pros.
All right, we're going to stick with a theme here, Paul, and we're going to go Ryan Wilson of CBS. He does a lot of their mock drafts over there, does a great job with his draft stuff. He has the Giants trading down in his mock draft all the way to 31 to the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, also landing a center, John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota. Now, the consensus seems to be that he's the best center in the draft, had a really good Senior Bowl, and obviously in the Big Ten goes up against a lot of big-time defensive linemen.
6'4", 320 pounds. Believe it or not, he actually does have some trouble with pad level as well, but very athletic, has a motor, he's very strong, he's forceful, he gets a good push. There's a lot to like about him, but he is not the perfect product.
Now we're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
We have a 3-round mock draft from friend of the program, Trevor Sikkema, over at Pro Football Focus, Paul's analytical friends. We're going to go first in round number 1. Zay Flowers, wide receiver out of Boston College, Paul. 5'9", fast, good route runner, but a little on the tiny side.
We've talked about him before with the Giants already having Wan'Dale Robinson. To me, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to have Flowers doubling up.
All right, round number 2. This is a player we haven't talked about much on these programs here. Deion Henley, linebacker out of Washington State, new age linebacker, only 230 pounds, but he can run and he can cover.
Yes, sideline to sideline ability. You want to get him out in space. He's one of those guys who needs to have the blockers in front of him taken care of so that he can move sideline to sideline. John, you mentioned not the biggest guy in the world, and that's the problem. Because if he gets caught in the traffic, it's going to be a problem shedding. He doesn't necessarily have the power in the frame.
Built like a safety, and then Trevor Sikkema gives the Giants their interior offensive lineman, Jarrett Patterson out of Notre Dame. Probably a guard, maybe a center in round number 3. He had a nice Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers on him, 6'4", 310 pounds, 3 years as a center, 1 year as a left guard throughout his college experience. Smart player. The question is now, after playing a year at guard, if you're going to move him to center in the National Football League, how well is he going to adapt, making that change again going back?
That's a look at the latest mock drafts. For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk. We'll see you next time, everybody.